In 2024, unemployment for U.S. college grads aged 22 to 27 hit 5.8%. That's higher than the national average, for the first time in modern history. The degree isn't a ladder anymore. It's an anchor. And the data I'm about to show you proves the entire promise of higher education has collapsed in real time. Here's what nobody told you. Between 2000 and 2023, tertiary enrollment exploded across every developed economy. South Korea went from 78% to over 98%. The US pushed past 88%. Australia crossed 120%. Governments told an entire generation the same story. Get a degree, get a career, get ahead. So they did. They took the loans, they filled the lecture halls, trillions of dollars flowed into diplomas. But look at this chart. We didn't build a knowledge economy, we built a knowledge glut. When 90% of young adults hold the same credential, that credential stops being a signal. It becomes the baseline, and the baseline pays baseline wages. This is the flood that broke the white-collar labor market before AI even showed up. Now here's where you push back. You say, but degrees still pay more. Graduates still have lower unemployment. Wrong. Not anymore. Look at youth unemployment across the OECD from 2000 to 2023. In France, it stuck above 17%. In Italy, it topped 29%. In the UK, it climbed back to double digits. And in the US, the gap between graduate and non-graduate unemployment among 22 to 27-year-olds has flipped. Why? Because R&D spending, the money funding AI, automation, and machine learning, nearly doubled as a share of GDP in South Korea, hitting 4.9%. The US crossed 3.5%. Every dollar of that spending is engineered to eliminate the exact tasks entry-level knowledge workers were hired to do. Reading contracts, writing reports, analyzing spreadsheets, coding basic scripts. The counter-argument dies here. AI investment scaled up at the exact moment graduate hiring collapsed. That's not coincidence. That's causation. So where did the displaced graduates go? Not into stable jobs. They went into gig work, freelance platforms, Uber, Substack, DoorDash. The self-employment rate tells the ugly story. Across the countries that pushed hardest into higher education, self-employment surged for under 35s, even as it fell for older workers. Korean youth self-employment is climbing. Britain's freelance workforce grew 40% since 2008. In the US, over 36% of workers now do gig work in some form. This isn't the entrepreneurial dream, it's forced entrepreneurship. When you can't get hired as an analyst, you sell your labor by the hour on Upwork for a third of the wage, with no benefits, no pension, no ladder. Your degree didn't buy you a career. It bought you a login to a gig app. And here's the number that should end the debate. GDP per capita growth. The economies are still growing. Productivity is up. Corporate profits are at record highs. But look at how per capita growth has decoupled from wages. The US grew per capita GDP by more than 30% since 2000. Germany over 20%. Yet median real wages for college graduates under 30 have stagnated or declined in inflation-adjusted terms. The pie got bigger. Workers got a smaller slice. This is the productivity wage decoupling economists warned about, and AI is accelerating it. Every efficiency gain flows to capital, not labor. The workers doing the work of 5 people now earn the wage of 1. Put it all together on one chart, and the pattern is undeniable. Countries with the highest tertiary enrollment now show the highest youth unemployment. South Korea, 98% enrollment, youth unemployment climbing. France, massive university expansion, 17% youth unemployment. Italy, Spain, the UK, same story. The more a country invested in mass higher education, the worse it got. This is the brutal inversion. The credential inflation didn't create prosperity. It created a generation of underemployed graduates competing for jobs that no longer exist, saddled with debt that can't be discharged, working gigs that don't cover rent. The degree wasn't the ticket out. It was the trap. So here's the verdict. The college degree is no longer a path to the middle class. It's a debt trap layered on top of a labor market that AI is actively demolishing. Governments oversold credentials, universities inflated tuition, corporations replaced entry-level analysts with GPT prompts, and an entire generation is now the college-educated poor, technically employed, technically qualified, and financially trapped. The next decade isn't about getting a better degree. It's about surviving the collapse of the system that told you a degree was enough. Anyone still telling teenagers to just go to college is selling them a product from 1995. If you want the data before the headlines catch up, subscribe. No opinions, no takes. Just the charts that show you where the economy is actually going. Hit the bell. The next one breaks down which jobs AI kills first.